Hey guys, Dawn here. Today I decided to start a series of thank you cards. I know a lot of people this time of year need thank you cards for teachers, Girl Scout leaders, or anybody that has really helped you recently. So I decided to make a shadow box card. Now I've never made a shadow box card before, and I have to tell you, I'm not really sure why I never did. This card was super fast and super easy to make, and I did learn some things along the way that I realized after I started making it that I'll share with you. I really wanted to use my Connected Hearts frame die, the Thanks with the Shadow die, the FaDoodle flowers, and the Magnolia die for a background. So let's get started. I'm going to get all the pieces together that I need to make this card. So the first thing I did was cut 2 pieces of white cardstock to 6 1/4 by 5 1/2. When the card is finished, it will be 5 1/2 by 4 1/4 inch card. Then I'm going to do my scoring now just so I can see where the center of the card will be. This will help me to center my heart die in the middle of the card. I score my first line at 1/2 inch, and then I score the second line at 1 inch. When I'm done, I flip the paper around and I score the paper at 1/2 inch again, and then I will score it at 1 inch again. I did the same thing to the second piece of paper. Once both my papers are scored, I'm going to burnish all the score lines with my bone folder. I will fold at the inch line first, and I'll fold it towards what will be the back of the paper. And then I fold the 1/2 inch mark in the opposite direction. This will make like what I would say an upside down L. Then I'm going to do the same exact thing to the other side of the paper. I will say the shadow box was inspired by Jennifer McGuire. I've seen her make these many times and I just never got around to trying one. And I'm actually really glad I did because they're such a fun card to make. I went ahead and did the same thing to the other piece of paper, and you can see how the card kind of pops up and down. So it's actually a really nice design. Now I'm going to die cut the heart from the center of what will be my card front, and I just tape it in place to make sure that it doesn't move around. And after it comes out of the die cut machine, I go ahead and just fold the sides down again so it has a nice crease to it. I die cut the heart 3 more times for a total of 4 heart outlines because I wanted the frame to be raised up so it will add dimension onto the front of my card. And I just go ahead and adhere them all together. Once I do that, I go ahead and I kind of put my card together a little bit. And I was like, wait a minute, how am I supposed to get the frame to stay attached to the card if it's a shadow box? I have nothing to adhere it to. At this point, I probably should have picked something else, like a regular heart, where the frame wouldn't need to sit on the inside of the heart. But I was determined to use this heart frame because it's one of my favorites. To solve this problem, I'm going to go ahead and cut a piece of acetate to 5 inches by 4 inches, and then I'll use it when I assemble my card. I die cut the thanks shadow die from white cardstock and the thanks word twice from black cardstock. And then I'm going to adhere the 2 black thanks words together, and then I'll adhere that onto the white shadow. Now I'm going to make the inside of the card. I could leave it plain red, but I wanted to emboss on it to add a little extra interest to it. So the first thing I'm going to do is place my cutting plate down, my embossing mat, and then I'm going to spray my cardstock with some water to make it a little bit more pliable. I'll lay that on the embossing mat, and then I'll put the die over it. And then I'll add the other cutting plate on top, and then I'm going to run it through my die cut machine. And look how nice that came out. I think that it will really look nice through the window of the heart. Now, the last thing we need to make the card is the FaDoodle flowers. I went ahead and stamped some flowers out already, and then I die cut them with my brother's Scan and Cut. Just a little tip I do, if you use flowers as much as I do, I like to keep some on hand so I always have them. And so I just stamp a whole bunch out at one time, and then I cut them out all at once rather than stamp and cut for every time I use them. I have everything I need to assemble the card now. So the first thing I'm going to do is adhere the red embossed background to the inside of the card. I'm going to put score tape on the back side of the card front. You could use liquid glue here if you want to, but I don't like using liquid glue when I'm using acetate. To me, the acetate moves around too much, and the next thing I know, I have a big mess with the glue. Maybe it's just me, though. It happens too. I don't know. So I try to use tape whenever I can. And then I'm going to take some wider score tape and I'm going to put it down both sides of the cardstock on the flaps. If you have strong glue, you can use that as well. I just chose to use the score tape today. Now I'm going to adhere my card front to my card back. Just make sure to line the flaps up so that they're not uneven when you go to put the card together. And there you have it. Now you have a shadow box card and it's basically done. We just now have to put the finishing touches on it. Sometimes you just have to use glue on acetate, like right now when I have to adhere the heart to the acetate. It would be too much work for me to try and put score tape on the back of the heart because the outline is just so thin. So glue it is. I'm going to put foam tape on the back of some of the flowers, not all of them. I want some to be raised and some to be flat onto the frame. This gives like a 3D look in my opinion. And then I'm just going to adhere them to the heart frame. Make sure not to put too much glue on the flowers. You only need to glue the middle of it since that'll be the only part that's actually touching the frame. Then I put foam tape on the middle of the thanks word and I put a little glue on both ends of the word because that's what's going to be touching the frame, and I adhere it in the middle of the card. Now to finish off the card, I really wanted to use red gems. I don't have my red gems yet from this Calls for Confetti, so I did find these red gems I had. These are actual gems with points on them though, so I had to adhere the flat side down onto the flower. They're not the gems I would have liked to use, but they'll work until I get my other ones in. I left the flowers uncolored because I really wanted this card to be quick and easy, that you could mass produce if you wanted to, but I felt like they did need that splash of color of the red in the middle of them. I wanted to show you how it fits inside the envelope. I chose to use a 5x7 envelope only because I need the extra space for the gems because they do stand up a little higher than the normal gems. It goes in the envelope flat and you just slide it in, and when it comes out it will pop back up and the recipient can stand it up if they want to, and they could keep it on display. I'm really loving this type of card and I could definitely see me making more of them in the future. And if you want, you could just write a little note on the back of the card right here for the recipient. And that's basically going to complete my card for today. I want to thank you for joining me on the Whimsy Stamps YouTube channel. I would love for you to leave a comment below and let me know what you think of the card. Be sure to subscribe to the Whimsy Stamps YouTube channel and their other social media platforms so you don't miss out on any upcoming releases and great inspirational videos. Also, check out their website for all their new releases. And as always, thanks for stopping by and have yourself a wonderful day.